Well, Anthony, first things first, congrats on all of your achievements so far, the Jimmy V Award and National Championship, obviously. How's your family doing? How are your brothers and sisters and your mom?
They're doing really well, actually. It's been a fun year. My mom's working at Arizona State now. I got two brothers there in college. And, this past year it's just been a real whirlwind. A lot of opportunities have opened up, not just for me, but for the family. And, we're just really enjoying the ride. It's very blessed and very fortunate.
Any wrestlers in the family?
Yeah, my second oldest brother, he was a wrestler in high school. He took second in the state. He doesn't want to wrestle in college, but my youngest brother just turned 13, and he's wrestling. I'm one of his coaches, so I'm having some fun training him up a little bit.
So you're helping out. Are you helping out Coach? Is he going to Mesa High?
Well, he's in junior high now. He'll be at Mesa High next year, so he'll have the same high school coach that I did. And then he says he wants to wrestle at Arizona State too. So, it's fun just seeing him kind of come up and being able to be a part of his coaching staff. And I'm training him. His big brother was kind of known for his top game, and the little brother's kind of doing the same thing. So it's fun.
So are you around the Mesa High program and Coach Bobby Williams a lot still?
I try to be there as often as I can. I'm just so busy right now with the traveling schedule and bouncing around doing motivational speaking and out of the book tour. But I think once my brother does get in there next year, I'll definitely be around Mesa High some more with Coach Williams and helping out. Just trying to help my brother build his wrestling career too.
Good. So how has life changed for you now that you are taking on the path of a motivational speaker?
It's changed a lot this past year. It's still kind of crazy. Just a year ago I was a college student, recent graduate, and now traveling the country doing motivational speaking. I just got a book that came out, and I'm having a lot of fun. But I learned a lot from wrestling, that hard work and that dedication. It's really transferred over now to my life, my career, and I'm just taking it one step at a time, just trying to make the right decisions and having fun.
Now, what were some of the struggles and the hard parts about writing the book that just came out?
I think the hardest part about writing that book was a lot of the stuff about my stepdad, and him and my mom's relationship, as well as his relationship with me, and just the growing up with that. Because obviously I knew my dad would probably read it, and it would probably upset him. But it was something that I felt like I needed to share my whole story. I didn't want to leave anything out. I wanted to be as honest as possible because I know there's some people out there with similar circumstances, similar challenges, and hopefully my story can help, what they're going through.
Speaking of that, we know you're here for the book and a motivational speech and stuff like that, but I did want to touch a little bit on how was your upbringing? You want to elaborate a little bit on how your mom affected you and things like that for us?
My mom, she was always my number one support system, my number one fan from day one. My stepdad as well, even though he was always in and out of the picture, when he was there, he supported me. He helped, and there's a lot of positive memories I have from my childhood. My family, and especially my parents, never made having one leg an issue. They never made it something that they never made it a big deal. I didn't think I was disabled. I knew I was missing the leg, but it didn't seem like it could hold me back. So.
From what I read, you decided yourself not to wear a prosthetic leg. What was your thinking about that?
I just remember growing up, and the prosthetic was so heavy, and it was just a big piece of wood. I hated wearing it. It was hard to move around. It pinched me, and as often as I could, I would take it off and just run back to the crutches. So, my mom eventually kind of caved in. She let me do what I wanted to, and the crutches were actually a better alternative for me later on, because as a kid I was always on them. It was building my upper body slowly, and when I got into wrestling, my upper body was really something that I could tie into my wrestling style.
Has your stepdad tried to reach out to you since you've been on the book tour? I know that you guys hadn't talked for a period of time, but what is that like now?
Still haven't talked. Actually it's been about 2 years that we haven't talked, but I'm still close with my mom, still close with my siblings, and that's what matters. I still love my dad. Hopefully one day we can kind of reconcile things, but there's still a lot of issues that need to be ironed out there. As with him leaving the family and things like that. So there's a lot of things we got to work on, but at the end we're still family. So I think one day it'll work out.
Now, what message would you give to kids who are in a similar home life that you had to be a part of when you were growing up?
I would just tell them that just to keep your head up and stay focused on your dreams. Stay focused on your goals, because it was hard growing up with the different situations going on with my dad, and him being hard on me and things like that. But what got me through it was my dreams, and which was wrestling, which was being the best wrestler I could be. And I think through all the negative situations, I've learned a lot, of what not to do when I have my own family. I learned a lot of great things of what to do, but at the same time, it's there's some bad things that happen. So through it all, you just got to look for the positive things, and that's what got me through it.
I think you definitely have something that a lot of these other athletes don't have in terms of personality. But going back to wrestling in high school, you started out didn't go as well as you thought it would. Junior and senior year, you go 96-0, 2 state championships. You go to Arizona State, you're in the top 10 a couple times, you're real close. You get to the championship, you're facing Matt McDonough. He won the previous year. What did that feel like to jump out to like a 7-0 lead in the first round? How did that feel?
That was a good feeling. I can remember McDonough's a tough wrestler, and I knew I had to respect his abilities. But I was watching him through that tournament, and they'd have us maybe one match apart during the whole thing. So when I was wrestling, he was wrestling, and I would glance up at his scoreboard to see where he was at, and I just noticed that he didn't start scoring points or really start attacking until end of the second period, beginning of the third. So my mindset and my strategy going into that match was catch him when he was sleeping. Get him in that first period when he's still waking up, and just explode on him to where he doesn't know what's going on. And luckily for me, it worked. I scored all my points that first period, and really I just decided to play it safe and coached out the rest of the match. He's a returning champ. You can't give those guys any openings. I've seen it before. They make you pay for it. So I said, no chances.
Yeah, you definitely flipped the table on him there. And I just wanted to know, what was it like standing on that podium with your mom in the crowd and just everything that you worked through to get to that point?
It was amazing. It's a 10-year struggle to get there. 10 years of training, and there's a lot of upsets in that, a lot of losses, a lot of setbacks. But just to finally stand there, and all the hard work that I put into it, all the pain and suffering I had to deal with to get there, it was worth it. I would have done it 100 times over if it meant getting this ring and getting that championship. So.
Yeah, definitely. I watched the video of the Jimmy V Award last night again. I'm not gonna lie, I started crying a little bit. It was really touching. What was it like to have, you have all these pro athletes there, all these people that you probably looked up to as a kid, and then they're looking up to you. What was that like?
That was a huge honor, and that was like another dream come true. All these guys I watched on ESPN, and I was fans of. I'm a huge Raiders fan. There was Raiders in the audience. So just seeing all the world's greatest athletes in this building, and they're staring at me giving a speech, that was an amazing opportunity. And I hope that I wanted to walk away just leaving my heart out there, leaving something for those athletes that they could take home and help them. So I hope I did that.
No, you definitely did. And I know Bryan touched upon how you would talk to people that are going through this similar type of thing growing up. But what is your message to people that say they can't do something, that say it's impossible to do this or impossible to do that? What would your message be to them?
I would say that nothing's impossible. Another quote I like was from Napoleon. Napoleon Bonaparte, he said that impossible is found only in the dictionary of fools. It's all about the mindset. Of course, there are some things that are harder to reach than others. It took me 10 years to win a national title. Some people would have said that's impossible. A kid who was last in the city, he's like, there's no way this kid's going to be an NCAA champion, undefeated one year. So it's just about having that mindset to where you're willing to pay the price to get there. Because it's possible to get there. It's just a matter of how hard are you willing to work and how much are you willing to take to get what you want.
Definitely.
How do you respond to the critics now that say that, oh, you had an unfair advantage because you had more upper weight?
At first it angered me. I remember I first started hearing that. It was after my junior season when I won my first high school state championship. I started looking on the message boards and saying, oh, he's got an unfair advantage, he's got the upper body strength. But it was kind of funny because before that, it was a disadvantage. People were cheering me on, they felt sorry for me, and he's got one leg, at least he's trying.
Until you
know?
beat their kid.
Exactly, until I beat their kid. But the more I thought about it, it kind of made me happy because I was no longer the sympathy case. You know, I was no longer the one-legged wrestler who everybody felt sorry for, who was like, oh, you know, I hope he doesn't get killed this time. You know, I was now the guy that was like, oh, you know, it's unfair. He's
Don't want to
beating
wrestle
everybody
him.
up. Exactly. So, you know, for me, that's the great thing about wrestling. Everybody has their own unique style. You don't have to be the tallest guy. You don't have to be the biggest, the fastest, the strongest, because we see it every day. You know, it's a unique style of every wrestler, and it's about how they can configure their style to go out there every single match and compete. And you know, I was able to do that. I was able to find my own style, and that's that. So.
Now, earlier this year on Valentine's Day, you were at the Marine base out in California speaking to a ton of other amputees and wounded warriors. What was that experience like for you?
That was amazing. You know, I've never been around so many amputees before, and let alone Marines. And so just to be there, you know, I remember I got off the bus, and you know, I'm just standing there, and I see all these Marines getting ready to compete in the different athletic games they had. And every single one of them, you know, they either had maybe a missing leg, a missing arm, but they all had different prosthetics on. You know, we were all just walking around, getting ready for their events. And, you know, I got to talk to a lot of them. Just got to hang out with them and chill for a few days. And it was really neat because not once during the whole weekend that I was there did anybody ask anybody else what happened. You know, I never got that question of what happened to your leg, and I never asked that question. It was all about just, you know, we were athletes there. We had that mutual respect and that bond, and you know, it was just about competing. You know, it wasn't about what happened or, you know, any sympathy like that. The way they saw it and the way I see it is, this is who I am. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm going forward. You know, I'm not dwelling in the past of what happened or, you know, what could be, what didn't happen, whatever. I'm just looking forward and saying, I'm gonna do the best with what I got. And it was a cool experience.
Now, I spoke to Jim Glatch, our wheelchair basketball coach here on campus. He represented the U.S. as the wheelchair basketball coach for the Paralympic Games in London. Mm-hmm. And over in Europe, they had 11 different stations covering the Paralympic Games. They had radio networks, journalists. They were really into it. Yes. Why don't we have that kind of response here?
Honestly, I don't know. I think it's still kind of early, you know, for the Paralympics. It's still coming through, but you know, I believe that there's definitely some headway. You know, it's definitely making progress because you know, we saw Oscar Pistorius in the last Olympics right there competing with everybody else. And I think that really brought some exposure to the Paralympics, you know, to the Paralympic Games. So I think it's just a matter of time. And I mean, to me, there's really no difference from the Olympics and the Paralympics. You know, they're all athletes, and I mean, I tried the wheelchair basketball with the Marines. It's a good workout. It's tough. It's no joke. So you know, I'm excited to see just the Paralympics growing. It's going to take some time, but it's coming along.
I'm sure that you making this tour is also going to help, you know, speed things up. But so many people use fame for the wrong reasons, and it's so refreshing to see that you're using it to help people and to send a message. I mean, what is it? I asked you what it felt like for athletes to look up to you, but knowing that little kids and wrestlers alike, they also look up to you too. How does that make you feel?
It's amazing. You know, it's a huge honor. Yeah, I didn't get into wrestling. I didn't get into motivational speaking for attention, for fame, for you know, money, nothing like that. I got into it because I had a passion to help others. You know, starting off in my wrestling career, no one really believed in me, you know, my abilities, except for my mom, my family, and my high school coach. And they changed my life. You know, if it wasn't for them encouraging me, I probably would have quit a long time ago. You know, I probably, if my mom would have told me, no, I don't think you should go out for wrestling, and the high school coach said the same thing, I probably wouldn't have done it. You know, but those people, them encouraging me and them believing in me changed my life. And so that's the reason why I got into public speaking, to motivational speaking, is to help and turn around to help people in similar cases. You know, they just need someone to believe in them, or they just need someone to say, you know, it's possible, you can do it. And so that's what it's about for me, is just giving back. You know, because if you can help that one person, like those special people help me, you know, that's what it's all about. That's what makes it worth it. So.
Definitely.
Talking to Mr. Lewis earlier, he told me a story about how you spoke at an Indian reservation and that the response was just incredible. in that because they had never had a professional athlete come and speak to them before because they don't have the money or the resources to bring in these people. What was that like?
It was pretty neat. I remember I drove up there. It was about a 5-hour drive from my house, and I drove up, and as soon as I pulled through the parking lot, they were all just kind of waiting for me around the auditorium, and just the warm welcome they gave me when I got there was amazing. And I think they really received me. I got to speak to a few of the students and the families afterwards, and it was pretty neat because we all have our own challenges. We all go through our own things. So just to hear what they're dealing with or what they're overcoming, it was a great trip.
Or what's it like being a Nike athlete now?
Love it. Getting Nike gear all the time, and I enjoy it.
And do you still keep in contact with Bob Williams and Chris Friege and those guys from Mesa?
Actually, I was just texting Chris Friege, my high school teammate, last night, and he said he just got the book. He was reading it, and Bobby Williams, I'm still very close with him. He's coached all my brothers in wrestling, and he's really like a member of the family. He's been there from day one, and I think he'll always be there for me. So.
Did you still have that hunger to get out on the mat sometimes?
I'm still training on the side at Arizona State. Keep getting the question about the Olympics, if I'm going to try out or not, but it's a different style of wrestling. Freestyle is a lot different from collegiate. It's like, for those of you who don't know, it's kind of like comparing rugby and football. Kind of same general idea, but the point system is completely different. So I'd really have to put 100% of my attention to freestyle if I decided to keep wrestling. So right now, I'm just focusing on the book tour and the speaking. We'll see what happens later on the road.
Have you ever considered taking a stab at MMA?
Have a little bit. They just made a 125 weight class, but I'm learning some jiu-jitsu, but it's just for fun. And I'd rather not get punched in the face if I can avoid it. So.
I'm sure your mom wouldn't like that very much either.
She wouldn't like watching that, but it would be fun. You never know.
Now, with the book just coming out, is there a possibility in the future that we could see an Anthony Robles movie?
We're working on some stuff right now, so it looks like it's going to happen. Just not sure when yet. So,
if there is a movie, who would you want to play you?
Denzel Washington.
That's a great answer.
Who plays your mom?
Man, I don't know. Maybe Rosario Dawson. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
So what does the future hold for Anthony Robles?
Just taking it one day at a time right now. The book tour, I love speaking. I'll be doing that for the next few years, and I'm doing some commentating with ESPN. Got a documentary I'll be working on end of March with Missy Franklin, the swimmer, and Bethany Hamilton. She did the movie Soul Surfer. And so it's a documentary called The Current. Basically, we'll be swimming with wild dolphins in the Bahamas. So have some fun.
That sounds like fun.
Oh yeah, looking forward to it.
Anything else?
No, I think that's everything.
You guys
All right, Anthony, thanks for your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you very much.